The Badgers have lost 4 of 6 of their last games at Evanston. Will the House of Horrors trend continue?
Welcome to the Bucky Report, your destination for all things Wisconsin Badgers. Authentic takes.
Oh my God.
Game analysis.
Touchdown Badgers! Ring one up!
And discussion from the fan perspective.
Woo-hoo!
Thanks for joining us and on Wisconsin.
Welcome to the Bucky Report. We are your hosts, Rajeev and Justin, back together for a midweek quick hit episode to preview the Northwestern game this upcoming weekend. We are at the Bucky Report on Twitter, YouTube, and wherever you can find your podcast. If you like what we're doing, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you know when we make new content. We very much appreciate all the support. Justin, before we get into Northwestern, I forgot to bring up something this weekend that I feel very bad that we did not bring up. Bo Ryan was enshrined in the Naismith Hall of Fame. And on Sunday, we just didn't talk about it because we were so focused on Rutgers. So I just wanted to take a quick minute to just say congratulations to Bo Ryan, the best coach we've ever had at our university. I mean, never missed the tournament, won multiple Big Ten championships, never finished outside of the top 4 in the conference. Like, just some incredible statistics from the best coach we've ever had. And it really is the reason that we sometimes think about Gray Guard and the issues we're having, because no one is Bo Ryan. I mean, it's just sad but it's great to look back at Bo Ryan. But what are some of your favorite memories of Bo Ryan? What are some of the things that he make him special?
Well, I mean, I think the one that goes without saying are the 2 years in 14 and 15 when the team was just incredible. Those are some of the games that I will never forget. Both games against Arizona, us absolutely torching the Baylor team in that tournament, where it was just like a clinic on how to beat a zone. Watching us carve up Kentucky, and I remember going into that game, Wisconsin fans felt eerily confident about it, and everyone else was like, "Oh, Kentucky's going to win this." And it's like, yeah, Wisconsin's kind of the one team that actually matches up really well with them and is a massive problem. It's so hard because we haven't had a lot of games like that. Even when Bo was here, we didn't have teams that were that level of dominant that could just turn it on and be like, all right, we're now going to blow you off the court.
It was pretty special. So congratulations, Bo. Certainly we're all honored that he was our coach for as many years as he was. Okay. Northwestern this weekend. Justin, how are you feeling about this? I'm a little like, look, the thing is, bottom line, are we a better team than Northwestern? Yes. Northwestern has been a house of horrors for us. We've lost 4 of the last 6 there, and there's countless times we've gone there ranked and lost. And this team just has grit. They have determination, and I am worried because I want so badly for next week to be an incredible atmosphere, which is going to be anyway. But if we lose, it takes that buzz out of the buildup. When we get to Madison next week and we're talking about it, it's that buildup is sort of, I'm so worried that this is a trap game for us. Please tell me I'm wrong.
I think you're wrong.
Good.
And I'll say right off the bat, the number one reason why I think you are wrong is the fact that this team got embarrassed by this team last year. They were made to look stupid. They were made to look weak. Good point. I think very much that they want to make a point this game. So it would not shock me if they came out and just looked to bludgeon Northwestern in this game.
That's a good point. That was a really embarrassing loss for us last year, 24-10.
And you remember how angry Fickell was. So there's no way that he's going to let them not be charged up for this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's get into our preview.
The Bucky Report's 3 big things.
Number 1, Justin, keep the game and the QB clean. We talk about playing clean when we play Northwestern because their team, like I said, look, they're going to fight. They're going to fight every single inch of that game. There's no give up in Northwestern. Every time they play us, it seems like it's personal. But we've got to play really clean. And the QB, my goodness, like, look, they have D linemen, Justin. They have some D linemen up there that can cause disruption. And they showed that in some of their games. Now, again, they haven't played anybody, okay? They've beaten Eastern Illinois, they've beaten Miami of Ohio, and they've beaten Maryland. They haven't really had, they've not really done that well so far this year. However, they do have some players there, and I am concerned about the like they forced a couple strip sacks. You saw the fourth quarter against Maryland where they were basically up 17-10 and they won by 37-10 because they forced turnovers. And that's what I mean by let's keep this game clean. We need to keep it tight, like no turnovers, win their turnover margin, strip sacks, like all those things can't happen. And if we can keep Locke clean and not get him sacked, and also the game clean as far as turnovers, that instantly gives us a really good shot to win this game.
Yeah, I think to me, the number one thing I'll say is I think we're the best offensive line they've seen this season, and I don't think it's particularly close. They have been good against the run. It is something that Wisconsin's going to have to be able to get the job done in this game. But the run, they need to be able to lean on the run game in order to basically give Locke some easy situations with his throws. Put him in good position where he doesn't have to try to make something happen. I think they're capable of doing that against this team. Northwestern is not a team that I am overly afraid of offensively. It's kind of like Rutgers in that way, where it's like, yeah, they've done some things, but they're like realistically, if this defense plays well, they're not going to be able to do much against us. It's going to take mistakes on our part in order for them to be effective, which is definitely possible, but I just don't necessarily see Wisconsin not being locked in for this game. I just expect them to wanting to come out there and make a point. I think this team is still kind of dealing with a chip on their shoulder because of the way that they've been treated because of the first two games. Like, I think people would forgive the Alabama and USC losses, but we're still kind of being slapped in the face a little bit based off of like the power rankings and stuff like that for the Big Ten. It's like we kicked down two teams and now it still doesn't matter, even though we've seen teams that have been less impressive and have played weaker schedules that are getting more props right now.
Yeah, you talked about the offensive line, and I agree with you. We're by far the best offensive line they've faced. They haven't faced many good ones, and I do think that we should be able to keep Locke clean and not getting into crazy situations because our O-line is so good. It kind of leads us into number two, which is impose our will up front, both sides of the ball. We talked about the O-line already. That's the best unit. They've been the best unit so far this season. And D-line has surprised us as well, Justin. Like our rush defense, you've talked about it as well. It's not as bad as we thought it was going to be. Elijah Hills is doing well up front. And they don't have a world beater running back by any means.
Their running game is pretty weak, to be quite honest.
Right. So I feel like we need to control the trenches and on both of the sides of the ball, keeping Locke clean, running the ball effectively, and then also stopping their run, which I think we should be able to do. I mean, I've watched two of their games now from the last couple games they played, and their lines don't look that impressive. It's the will and it's the fight that Northwestern brings that I think always scares me when we play them. But on paper, when you look down the line, both sides, I absolutely think we should dominate. I also, Justin, don't think their offensive line is that good. Mm-hmm. So again, I think we can dominate on both sides of the ball in the trenches, which is where we have to do it if we're going to get a solid victory.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of circumstances there where we can get them into third and long. They're going to have to throw the football, and I don't particularly like their quarterback in terms of being a guy. He's kind of a guy that does some of those things that if you're an offensive coordinator, you're probably like, just please don't turn it over when you're watching him, because he runs around and wants to make things happen at times. Guys like that have a tendency to either play really well or really poorly. We have a history against Northwestern of turning the ball over a lot. It's why our record stinks against them.
It's why number one was keep it clean.
Yep. Which is why in this game we need to be able to kind of give them a little bit of that back. I think I don't want to sound overly confident on this, but I do think there's a route in this game where we can just run the ball to victory. Uh-huh. They have a good run defense analytically, but I don't know if they've ever really faced one. It's the same thing kind of like we faced last week with Rutgers, where it's like, well, Rutgers is really good defensively, and then Wisconsin just kind of runs right through them. Well, Northwestern is worse than Rutgers defensively, and I anticipate we will be able to do some things.
They're giving up 2.9 yards per carry, but they haven't faced the running attack anywhere near what we're going to give them with, truly a three-headed monster at running back and the offensive line that by far, I mean, you're talking about one of the top 2 to 3 lines in the conference, no doubt, and probably a top 10 line in the country. So I just think that that's going to be very difficult for them to deal with. You mentioned the quarterback. Let's go to number 3 here. Set the edges and contain Lausch. What are your thoughts on Lausch and what he can do to us?
Yeah, I watched a lot of film on him over the last couple weeks because they've kind of shown some of the things that he's done. He kind of stepped up his game a little bit. I'm trying to remember who they played right before. Was it Indiana? Yeah, it was Indiana. Mm-hmm. Where he kind of came alive a little bit. And it was watching that and watching the Maryland game that I saw. I'm like, he does some things. He definitely can stress the defense a little bit, but I don't know how much of it's him reading and how much of it's him just kind of throwing the ball up for grabs at times. I do think we need to set the edge on him, and I kind of want him putting the ball in the air because I think he gives you opportunities to make plays. You just have to make them, and you have to be disciplined. Is one of the things that I was going to say about this is Wisconsin needs to be disciplined. You can't freelance on a game like this because this is a guy that is going to start doing some things that he is going to take some chances that he probably shouldn't. And freelancing is what gets you out of position. Like, just stay with your man, do what you're supposed to do, and when he puts it up for grabs, go make a play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried about Lausch from a quarterback perspective. And I will say in the Maryland game, they threw it deep a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't think that because we can't really get a pass rush on him, he's going to have those opportunities, but I trust our secondary to make those plays and to not really give up those big plays because Maryland certainly gave up a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember if they stretched the field much against Indiana, but they're definitely going to give us chances, like you said. But what I'm worried about, Justin, is like a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, where our protection is good. Our coverage is good. And then he just scrambles because he gets to the outside and he is quick. He is athletic. He can use his legs. Now, he didn't run for a lot of yards in the Maryland game. But he can. We're talking about critical 3rd down situations where we need to get off the field to keep the momentum going. That's really where this edge integrity is going to come in huge. And I'm not worried about it because I think we have the speed from the outside linebacking perspective. And again, not pass rush, but as far as contain speed, I think we should be okay. And our safeties have played out.
I think we've done a really good job this season of maintaining the edge, and I think that I feel pretty good about us not getting caught out of position. It's a little different. I mean, people will probably harken back to the Alabama game, and it's like, well, yeah, this isn't Jalen Milroe. He probably runs like a 4.5. This is a guy who's probably in like the 4.7, maybe 4.6 range. He's not a burner where he's going to be able to take off. He'll get the edge if you give it to him. Mm-hmm. You just have to be disciplined and not give him that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of these things where we should be in a good spot, but you never know. It's dicey up there. All right, let's get into our predictions.
The Bucky Report predictions.
Another early kick, 11 a.m. Central at Northwestern this weekend. Not playing in their typical Ryan Field. That's been demolished. Now we're playing on the lake in some lakeside soccer pitch looking thing with some stands. Very small, really cool location, literally right on Lake Michigan. House of Horrors, 4 of the last 6 we've lost at Northwestern. We've gone there ranked multiple times and lost. As you mentioned, we've turned the ball over multiple times. They will not quit. They will not. I mean, you can argue that Rutgers kind of quit and Purdue kind of quit a little bit late in the games. That's not going to happen with this team. We need to put them away early and often. It's a game leading into certainly one of the biggest games of the year, a game that we are going to be at, which we'll talk about here at the end of the show. And I think that it's a trap game. I mean, it's a classic trap game. Now, I'm not saying we're going to lose, but it is a game that we have to be ultra focused on. Give me your score prediction and any other thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I don't look at it as a trap game simply because of what happened last year, but I will say that it is a game that there might be a couple of guys that can look ahead, but they're probably guys that weren't on the roster last year. I think for me, I look at this game, I actually think they're going to continue to stay hot. I do think that this offense is capable of beating them in whatever way they need to, which means if they're going to sell out to try and stop the run, I think we'll pass it on them. I think we're capable of passing on them and hurting
them.
That. So I actually I said on in the Discord 31-10, and I actually stand by that. I actually think this is going to be a game where we come out and kind of stick it to them for last year. I think Fickell wants this one to be like a shot across the bow. We're making a point in this game.
Listen, man, I love the optimism. And if it wasn't Northwestern, I would be with you. And I hope, just like last week, I hope we can get on Sunday's show and you can tell me, hey, remember who told you not to be worried about Northwestern? I hope that happens again because I'm worried because it's Northwestern. And I'll tell you, the reason I'm worried is because it's like, I just don't want to have this be the narrative next week. I want the narrative to be Badgers are playing Penn State. We're probably getting votes if we win this week, and it's going to be a number 3 team in the country. And can we beat them? And 3 great weeks. I want that to be the narrative. If we lose this game, the narrative is totally different. It is a big downer. It's going to be another failure. And that's what I'm so afraid of. So it's just that cautious optimism that I have. So I'm at 27-17. I don't think our offense is going to have too much of a problem scoring on them. So I think getting close to 27 or 30, that's kind of where we're going to be. I like your 31. I think that's very possible. That's one more touchdown than I was saying. But I do think Northwestern is, because Lausch is he's gonna hurt us on some situations. They're gonna have some short fields. Honestly, we're probably gonna turn the ball over. To think we're not gonna turn the ball over at Northwestern, just not gonna. I don't feel like that's reasonable.
I think we can get away with turning the ball over. It just can't be on our side of the field.
That may be, and I hope that doesn't happen. I do expect it to be a little bit close going into the third, mid-third, fourth quarter, and then hopefully we can kind of extend our lead. Maybe they get a garbage score late. I just ultimately think that if it was 27-10 in the fourth quarter, that wouldn't surprise me. They get another touchdown, 27-17. Ultimately, though, I do think we end up doing it. We covered the spread. The spread, by the way, is 7 in this game, which was kind of surprised me, Justin. I thought it was going to be a little bit more. But I think this is just the history of this rivalry, whatever you want to call it. This game.
I think odds people have learned their lessons with playing with this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a game that I'm not touching because I'm so afraid of not having that victory in the bag. But 27-17 is me. You're at 31-10, right? So let's hope you're right again. Reminder to everyone, we're going to be in Madison next week. On our show on Sunday, we'll talk more about that. We're going to try to be there somewhere, maybe potentially on Thursday night. Ryan from Locked On Badgers just setting up a couple things. Either way, if you're going to be at the game, hit us up, let us know, put a YouTube comment below, send us a message on Twitter. We're going to be at probably Scotty's bar on Saturday before the game, which is where we generally will go. We'll be hitting up some tailgates, so let us know. We'd love to hang out with as many people as possible, meet as many fellow Badger fans, and talk about the game. And hopefully we have something exciting to look forward to. If we win this weekend, believe me, the energy is going to be electric. And it's a game that I really feel like Badger fans deserve. Like, we've been waiting for that signature win from Luke Fickell. Penn State presents that. It presents an opportunity for us to have a signature win that I really, really hope we can get. Any final thoughts about this game before we wrap it up?
I think it's just, this is where Luke Fickell gets to earn his paycheck and prove that he's a legit top-tier coach. Go out there and get it done. This is a game that you should win. Now go out there and prove it. And you have a reason to have these guys focused for this game. It'd be different if we had blown them out last year, trying to get guys locked in. You have some respect to earn back. I think that they have some respect to earn back in the league. I don't think the national perspective on us is very high right now. We've blown 2 teams out, and it feels like what ended up happening is they just started to bag on those teams that we blew out rather than give us any credit for doing it. So keep doing it.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right about Fickell in that, after last year, he's going to have these guys ready to play because look, remember, they're 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. Like they know it's a night game in Madison next week. They know what that's all about. They got people, in their ears about it. So they have to be locked in and ready to go. And it's Fickell's job to lock them in and to be ready to go. And I do believe it's a really good point about last year and getting, frankly, kicked in the teeth by Northwestern. So we have to be ready to play. We will be back on Sunday night, hopefully talking about a cruising easy win in the hated Evanston. With that, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show, subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Bucky Report or The Bucky Report Podcast from wherever you get your content. Until next time, on Wisconsin.